Welcome back to the Garza Gaming Channel. Today we're going to talk about the 10.12 update that goes live Tuesday, November 14th. Now there's a lot to cover, so let's get started, right? So we're going to get a bunch of new skins, and of course we're going to get a bunch of team skins that a lot of people probably don't care about. I know I do not, but I'm very interested in this new Aphrodite skin. You know, I've always liked these, Christmas, Halloween type theme skins, and I don't think I had a Christmas one for Aphrodite, so I'm going to keep an eye on that one. Okay, so let's scroll down past all this conquest stuff and get right into items, right? So Absolution. On this one, they increase the max health from 200 to 250. So they're giving you 50 more hit points on this item. Abyssal Stone. On this one, they increase the magical protections from 35 to 40. So you're getting 5 more protections. Amulet of Silence. So they decrease the stat count from 4 to 3 and decrease the internal cooldown from 15 seconds to 12 seconds, so we'll proc more. So that's really good. That's definitely really good. Now this was one that blew my mind. I'm very happy that they added. I just couldn't believe it. It was so awesome. So Air Knight, they ended adding 7% movement speed on this item, constant 7%. It has nothing to do with after you do your ult. This item now has 7% movement speed, which is going to be awesome. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot more people picking up this item. Because remember, this is one of those items that has really high attack power, plus has cooldown reduction on it. So adding that 7% movement speed, for those assassins and even some of those warriors is going to be amazing, right? Especially those that don't have that much in the way of an escape. And then decrease the passive movement speed, of course, from 30% to 20%. So I guess they had to offset it, seeing how you're always going to get that 7% movement speed. So that was a very, very pleasing surprise, right? So Brawler's Beat Stick. So they increase the power on this one from 40 to 45, which is really, really nice. Corrupted Bluestone. They increase the damage over time duration on this one from 5 seconds to 6 seconds and increase the protection increase per stack from 4% to 5%. So not too bad. Last Gasp. Increase the buff duration on this one from 6 seconds to 8 seconds and the decreased internal cooldown from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. So I guess it's going to be able to use a lot more. I don't really use this item. I guess I can see this being used on maybe a Baron Samedi or maybe even an Afro, but it is what it is. Mail of Renewal. They reduce the allied heal time from 10 seconds to 5 seconds. I guess in this one, your allies got a heal over time from that lasted 5 seconds. This one, they're going to decrease that by 50%. Mana Core Spike, increase the max health from 250 to 300, right? So you can get a little bit more health if you pick up this item. Mantle of Discord. I really liked the Mantle of Discord, but I never really picked it up because it was just so freaking expensive. So now they're taking baby steps in the way of making this item more of a good idea, right? That makes sense to use now, especially earlier in your build, right? So they decrease the cost on this one from 2,900 gold to 2,750 gold, which is a pretty significant discount, to tell you the truth. Now, Relic Dagger and the glyph of it, right? Increase the relic cooldown reduction from 40 seconds to 50 seconds. So now your relics are going to come off cooldown 10 seconds faster, which is huge, man. That is huge, especially if you're using this incorporated with maybe a blink or damage shields. There's so many ways that you can use this item on some really nice heavy tanks that will definitely benefit you. Okay, so Sentinel's Boon. Increase the health restore on this one from 3% to 4% and increase the assist gold from 15 to 20. Who cares? Silver Branch Bow. Increase the power conversion from this one from 2 to 3 and physical power per 0.02 attack speed over your cap, right? So that is going to be huge, especially for those hunters that have some sort of attack speed benefit to any of their attacks, like your Apollos, your Artemises, right? Maybe your Neefs. So this is going to be very, very powerful for our hunters. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot more hunters using this in our arena, right? So Staff of Meriden, decrease the cost on this one from 2,600 to 2,550. Not a big discount, but any of a discount is better than no discount, right? So Vision Shard. So the ward duration increased from 60 seconds to 90 seconds. And then your Warriors X. Dude, this is a huge buff, man. They increase the health and mana restore from 20 plus 1 per level to 30 plus 1.5 per level, man. That is gigantic. And Axe Animosity, they increase the health on this one by 50 more health, right? So you get 300 health now instead of 250 that you're currently getting, which is really nice, especially if you're using that as a tank, right? But your Sundering Axe, increase the protection scaling damage from 1.5 to 2%. That is very nice. Very nice. Okay, so Breastplate of Determination, right? They pretty much reverted this one. I think they got a little bit long in the tooth and overbuffed this one a couple updates ago, and now they saw that it got a little too powerful, so they're trying to reel it back a little bit, right? So they decreased the protections per stack on this one from 7 back to 5. Fey Blessing Hoops added internal cooldown on this one of 10 seconds. So where before, every time you healed it, you see those little, shield bubbles going everywhere. Now it's going to have an internal cooldown of 10 seconds. So even if you're healing your allies, you're not going to see anything come on the ground until that 10-second cooldown is expired, right? So keep that in mind. Felknot, they removed the reduced damage debuff from the passive on this one. So you no longer apply that debuff when you use this item. It is what it is. Talkine's Ring decreased the magic power from 50 to 45, which I really do not agree with this, dude. These rings already have very low power on them, and especially for those mages that are like single attack. They're pretty much mage hunters, right? Like your Aphrodites, your Olerons, right? Maybe even your souls. So by taking away power from that, it's just really, teeter-tottering in the way of making these guys just that much weaker, to tell you the truth. I mean, it is what it is. And decrease the base bonus damage from 10 to 5, which is ridiculous, but it is what it is, dude. Enchanted Ring, decrease the magical power on this one from 45 to 40. Tiny Trinket, increase the cost on this one by 50 gold. Enchanted Trinket, increase on this one the cost by 50 gold. And your Pythagoras piece, right? So total cost increase on this one went 50 gold, but decrease the max health you get on this one by 50, right? So they took away 50 health that you get from this item, which really sucks. So the following items have unchanged stats and prices, right? So your Soul Gem, your Talon Trinket, your Bancroft's Talon, and your Typhoon's Fang, which is good because I've been incorporating Typhoon's Fang into a lot of my builds of late. Now your Vampiric Shroud to decrease the magic power from 35 to 30 on that one, and your blood soaked shroud to decrease the magical power from 85 to 80. I'm not really liking this trend of these popular magic items being decreased in power, but it is what it is, dude. So AMC, right? So this is kind of a weird buff, I guess, for AMC. So they increased the projectile speed of his swarm, right, by 33%. So it's kind of almost like if you're using that Griffin's orb or whatever the heck it was, where increase your projectile speed. It doesn't increase the damage or nothing. It just makes that swarm that much faster. I know in the stream they're talking about it makes it harder for people to dodge it, but I mean, realistically, if you could dodge that swarm, then you're either very lucky or very elite, to tell you the truth, because I thought it moved pretty quick on its own, but it is what it is. We'll take any little buff we can get on AMC, right? Because I love playing that guy. Okay, so Atlas, this is another crazy one, but anyway, they increase the physical protections per level from 35, or 3.5, I should say, to 3.7. So you're getting 0.2 per level more physical protections, which I think I did the calculations on it, if I'm correct, and it came out to like 0.4 more protections. So it is what it is, dude. Are you going to feel this change? Probably not. And then on his alt, they increased the power reduction per stack from 2% to 3%. Now, Chalk, this was a very big surprise, man, because I know Chalk is a very, very popular god in Arena, right? So his Thunder Strike, they increased the damage scaling from 70 to 75%. So you're getting 5% more damage scaling, which is huge. And then his Torrent, they increased the base damage on this one from 100, 150, 200, 250, 300 to 100. So level 1 stays the same. And then increases to 160, 220, 280, and late game 340. So you're getting 40 more damage late game, which is huge. Kakalin, dude, this guy is so freaking annoying, and I cannot believe they buffed him, but it is what it is, dude. His Vent Anger, they increased the damage on this one from 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 to 10, so the level 1 stays the same, 17, 24, 31, and 38. So he's getting 8 more damage increase late game. So a Spear of Mortal Pain, right? Or War Cry, depending on what form you're in. The cooldown decrease, this one from 100 across the board to 195, 90, 85, and 80. So they're taking away 20 seconds at max level late game, dude, which 20 seconds is a lifetime. That is a huge, huge buff for this ability. And this only affects the cooldown of the Spear of Mortal Pain, they're saying. I guess not War Cry. So, I mean, it is what it is. Danzaboloro. I love it when they buff this little guy, and the buff for this guy is going to be a freaking amazing. But let's get into this first one first. So his Luring Spirits increase the base damage from 80, 130, 180, 230, 280 to 90. So that it looks like they added 10 across the board. That's all I had to say. They added 10 more damage across the board. But this is the big update right here that's going to totally change the way you play this little god, right? So they changed the damage mitigation while this ability is up. And this is his Tanuki Trickery. That's that little AoE where when he's in it, he gets, damage mitigation for basic attacks. But when he leaves it, he turns into a leaf or $1, depending on, what skin you have, right? But now, instead of mitigating just basic attack damage, you will be able to mitigate any damage at all. So if you get ulted by Ares and you throw this AoE under where he's going to land, as soon as you get pulled in and stunned, you're going to get 15% mitigations to all damage, which is huge, man. That is gigantic, man. I can see this being used when you get ulted by Ares, when you get ulted by Cerberus, when you get ulted by Dalaji. There's so many uses for this. When you get put into a big team fight, I mean, 15% mitigation, is gigantic. Now, keep in mind, I don't know if this is going to cap out. I can't even remember what the heck the mitigation was, but there was a cap on. I can't remember if it was 15 or 25% cap on mitigation. But if this doesn't stop at the mitigation cap, dude, having this in something like a spirit robe is going to be gigantic, right? So, I mean, keep that in mind. I'm going to play with that in future videos. Okay, so Fenrir, so his Unchanged, they reduced the cooldown from 15 seconds to 14 seconds. Well, heck, any type of cooldown, we love that, right? And his Brutalized, they reduced the time that it fully channels from 1.5 seconds to 1.35. So it channels a little bit faster, like a split of an eye faster. Are you going to feel this? Probably not. If you are a Fenrir main, you might feel it, but to tell you the truth, the casual player or the normal day-to-day player is probably not even going to see a difference in this. Hoi-Yi. So his Ricochet increased scaling damage from 65 to 70% in Arena. Are you going to see any difference in this? No, because hardly anybody uses Ricochets in Arena. And if you are using the Ricochets in Arena, you're very good with Hoi-Yi, let me tell you. And Mark of the Golden Crow, though. Now, this is going to be huge. They decreased the cooldown on this one from 18 seconds, 17, 16, 15, and 14, which is gigantic, right? Those are some very heavy cooldown reductions to 16. So early game, they're taking away 2 seconds, 2 full seconds on this, which is gigantic. 15.5, 15, 14.5, and 14 seconds. So it ends up at 14 seconds late game, but early game, you're going to be able to use this mark a lot more. Now, Nemesis. Dude, this is going to be a game changer for Nemesis. Do not be surprised if you see a heck of a lot more Nemesis in Arena after this update, right? So her Swift Vigilance. So pretty much her escape and her gank ability, right? Where she throws those Nike turtles and goes, right? So to decrease the cooldown, this one from 14 seconds across the board to 13, 12.5, 12, 11.5, and 11. That's right, 11. They took away a full 3 seconds at late game on this ability, which is just going to be nasty, son. Nasty. And then her slice and dice increased the damage on this one from 50, 80, 110, 140, 170, plus 35% of your physical power to 55, 85, pretty much 5 across the board, and giving you 5% more physical power scaling on that, which is going to be huge for Nemesis, dude. I'm telling you, do not be surprised if you see a heck of a lot more Nemesis. In fact, I might even dabble with Nemesis after Tuesday. Okay, so Raw. Can't believe Raw's getting a little bit of love, but here we go, right? His Divine Light, they increased the damage scaling on this one from 55% to 60%, which is pretty big. And his Solar Blessing reduced the cooldown from 16 seconds to 15 seconds, which is really nice. Now, Shiva, this is one I do not agree with. I don't understand why they did this, but, to each his own. So Shiva, his Pillar of Dawn, they increased the damage mitigation from 30% to 40%. They're giving him 10% more mitigation while he's in this ability, which I think is ridiculous, dude. Shiva's already a pain in the butt and almost impossible to kill if built right. So giving him 10% more mitigation is just ridiculous, but it is what it is. Tsukiyomi, right? So his, I don't know, Kusumi Gama, whatever that ability is, they added knock-up immunity while channeling. So, Tsukiyomi doesn't really have much in the way of an escape. You can throw those little spikes on the ground and hope that somebody steps on it when they're trying to chase you so you can get away. So I guess giving him some type of, knock-up immunity or some type of survivability ability, I guess is fair for this god. Now, this was another surprise that's going to be huge for Vulcan, right? And that's his Infernal Cannon, right? So his Infernal Cannon, the base damage on this one went from 45, 70, 95, 120, and 145 to 45, so it stays the same early at level 1, and then it goes to 75, 105, 135, and 165. So you're getting 20 more damage late game. Now keep in mind that Infernal Cannon also shares the penetration from the god, plus it has its own ignoring magical protections type aspect to it. So that's going to be huge. That 20 extra damage is going to be multiplied significantly when you add those two ignoring the damage magic protections plus the penetration that is siphoning from your Vulcan build, right? So I'm really, really interested to see that. And then this is another big one, man. His ult, right? His Earthshaker. As we all know, the further off you cast that ult, the more damage it does for Vulcan, right? So if you throw it at your feet, it does, as of right now, only 75% of its total damage. What they're doing now, they're going to increase the maximum damage that your ult can do at close range, at minimum range, right? So now if you cast that freaking ult at your feet, you're going to be doing 80% damage now, 80% of the max potential damage you can do with this item, which is huge. That's the difference. Like this, just for simplicity's sake, if you do 1,000 damage with this ability, instead of doing 750 damage at your feet, you're now going to be doing 800 damage at your feet. You know what I'm saying? So that's really, really big. So Ymir, his Glacial Strike, they decreased the pre-fire time from 0.45 to 0.35. Dude, I'm telling you right now, unless you are a Ymir main that plays Ymir like religiously, you're not going to feel the difference on this. I don't care what anybody says, dude. If you're a casual player to Ymir or trying Ymir for the first time, obviously you're not going to be able to compare it to anything. But if you're a casual player to Ymir, you are not going to feel the difference on it. I'll be surprised. Let me put it this way. I'll be surprised if you feel a difference on it. But who knows, man? I'm going to have to hold judgment, I guess, and wait to see what it feels like when I play him. I am not a Ymir main, but I do play him every now and then. So it'd be interesting to see how that works out. So Athena, this was kind of interesting too. I wasn't expecting this nerf, right? So for Athena, her confound, they decreased the attack speed debuff from 30% at all ranks to 20, 22.5, 25, 27.5, and 30%. So you're only getting that 30% at late game, but early game is starting at 20%. So you're losing 20% early game, which is a bit of a nerf there. Now, Baba Yaga, dude, I have not seen very many Baba Yagas in Arena. this year. You know what I'm saying? I see them every now and then, but they're like freaking trying to see the Loch Ness monster. They're very, very, very scarce, which I don't know why, because she's very, very strong in an arena, right? So they're ending up, they're going to be nerfing her a little bit. So her creeping cabin increased the stat cost from 400 to 500, and then her Baba's Brew, right? So her little potions, they decrease her base damage on this one from 95, 130, 165, 200, and 235 to 85, 120, 155, 190, and 225. So it looks like 10 across the board on this one. So 10 damage across the board nerf on her potions, right? Churnbog. Dude, I did not know Churnbog was so strong in freaking Conquest, I guess, because they nerfed the crap out of him. This kid got freaking the nerf bat beaten of a lifetime, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not much of a Churnbog player, but I'm sure the Churnbog players out there are going to be furious with this. So his Cold Heart, to decrease the base damage on this one, or to decrease the base damage of explosion from 20% to 15% of your basic attack damage, right? And this crystallized curse, they increase the cooldown from 15, 14, 13, 12, and 11 seconds to 15. So level 1 stays the same. And then it goes up to 14.5, 14, 13.5, and 13. So they increase the cooldown by 2 seconds late game, right? So that kind of sucks. And his Vicious Barrage increased the cooldown this one by 1 second. So a lot of nerfs for Churnbog. Maman Brigitte. On this one, it wasn't too much of a nerf. I mean, the fact that she has good survivability with her escape, while I'm sure some Maman Brigitte's players are probably going to cry about this one, I think it was fair, to tell you the truth. Take this away from her and give it to Tsukiyomi. But her party trick, they remove the knock-up immunity when you're breathing fire on this one. So, I mean, it is what it is. Raijin, another guy that you very seldom see in Arena, but is very strong. When I do see this guy in Arena, it's usually played by a player that can play him very well. And I tell you right now, this dude's taunt is just so freaking annoying. But his charge tempo, decrease the cooldown reduction on this one from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds. His percussion storm increased the cooldown this one by 2 seconds from 10 to 12. And his Thunderous Crash, they increased the cooldown this one from 50 seconds across the board to 17, 16.5, 16, 15.5, and 15 seconds. So staying 15 seconds late game, but early game, they're tacking on 2 seconds on Thunder Crash, which is crazy. But, you know, it is what it is. And that's pretty much all the changes that are going live here this upcoming Tuesday. Was it November 14th with the 10.12 update, right? As you can see, there's a lot of changes that are actually being put in with this update, but nothing too overwhelmingly crazy, right? There's a couple of guys that are going to be seeing some significant upgrades, you know, like Chalk for one, but you know, it is what it is. But hey, man, there you go. In a nutshell, the 10.12 update. Again, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget we're streaming every Tuesday at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time right here on YouTube, and every Sunday at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time in the morning right here on YouTube. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm Garza, the OG on GC. We'll see you next time.